Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. A very senior Labour, I suppose, Grandee, or Grand Dame actually, has come out and talked about the problem Labour has with immigration. Normally, this might actually be something that you could listen to and think, oh, yes, Mel, maybe she's talking sense. Who knows? But we're going to go through a piece to see what she's going to say. But before we do, we must look towards the character of the person who's saying the things that she's saying. Because we are talking about Margaret Hodge, known colloquially, of course, as Enver Hodge, because she is, like Enver, a truly awful person. Many years ago, she was a member of Islington Council. And I'm only saying, what I'm about to tell you is only to give you the background on this woman, to show that, we are not dealing with the whiter than white. We're not dealing with someone here who is pure as the driven slush. Because Margaret Hodge, when she was in Islington Council, towards the end of her career there, sat on a council that oversaw some of the most depraved abuse of children in its care homes. And she was aware of it. And she subsequently said, oh, it was my naivety. I don't care how naive you are. Child abuse is wrong, Margaret. You don't cover it up because it's your council that's responsible. She failed to act when people told her what was going on. She knew full well that these things were going on and helped to deny all responsibility. So I just want you to put that into context so that you know exactly what you're dealing with this woman. The irony, of course, is that then she entered government and became the Minister for Children. I mean, talk about, fox in the hen house. But that's the sort of person she is. Anyway, we're going to go to this piece here because she has accused Keir Starmer and the whole, I think, of the Labour Party at the moment of being too frightened, too timid, too frit to tackle mass immigration. She's saying it's a problem in this country. It's a problem because people perceive it as a problem. And you have a very cowardly approach by a government that doesn't want to talk about it because it will then be perceived as being racist rather than looking after the country. They're saying that the party has moved maybe too far to the left on this issue. And that she says also, and quite rightly, and I'll give her this one, she's absolutely bang on the money. She says that the party will ignore the working man of this country at its peril. She says the working classes will rise if these problems are not addressed. Now, she served with Blair. She served under Brown as well. So she has worked for some real bastards in her time. And of course, obviously, with what she's done when she was an Islington councillor, it seems fair enough. They're all in it together, aren't they? But she's basically put this I suppose stark warning on this fledgling Marxist government, saying that they've got to stand up and they've got to address the issues with immigration, and they've got to address the fears of people over this mass immigration. She said that we are all at fault. This is her words. We are all at fault that we've always been too frightened to talk about immigration. If you're a politician, you have a voice. Could have used yours, Margaret, but you never did you? How many children suffered? She said we need to use that voice to develop a new discourse about immigration, and you have to lead rather than follow. And people who want to hang on to their seats next election have got to worry that the election turnout last time was so low, and they have to be worried about a protest vote next time. She says we ignore this issue at our peril. Now, she's previously gone about the richness that immigration brings. Yes, and I'm sure those 3 little girls in Southport are wonderfully enriched. I'm sure the mother and child in Leicester Square yesterday are wonderfully enriched. And I'm sure the people on London Bridge who had their throats slit were lovingly enriched. The 7/7 bombers, all they did was go around enriching Britain. The Manchester bomber, enriching Britain. The high levels of crime, the high increasing levels of rape. All adding to Britain's rich tapestry, I'm sure. That's even before you start talking about the housing shortage, but that's a different matter on a different video on a different day. Anyway, she's saying that this government has got to stand up. It's got to address the problem. It's got to speak, not just from on high outwards. It's got to get down and dirty. It's got to go down and talk to the working class people. It's got to talk to those people who are at the bottom of the social structure, because they are the ones who, when they rebel, she says, it will topple this government. So it seems that she's not really concerned about the people, just concerned about this government. Hodge, who stepped down from her seat in Parliament in May, has long warned that Labour's failures to address immigration concerns within the white working class populations will see traditional supporters of the party defect to right-wing alternatives at the ballot box. Yes, they will, and they are. And I think come the next council elections next year, we are going to see a massive swing away from Labour to reform, particularly in Labour heartlands. The red wall is gone. The red wall will not be there at the council elections, and they know it. And that's what's going to happen. We've seen at the last election how many people voted for reform. Unfortunately, it was too thinly spread. They managed to get a few seats. They didn't get enough. But I think as time goes on, more and more traditional Labour supporters will go to reform. And after all those riots, every single riot, apart from the one in Belfast, every single riot occurred in a Labour constituency. And the only reason Belfast didn't have a Labour constituency is that Labour don't stand in Northern Ireland. And so these are traditional Labour voters rioting. And this will be the traditional Labour voting going to reform. And this is all because Keir Starmer lacks the balls to address a problem that his party caused. Enver Hodge is right. There will be change, there will be trouble, and the Labour Party is in deep existential peril. It's up to us. Ballot, not bullet. Protest, don't riot. Make sure we win. And we will. For as I always say, we are many, they are few. We will win. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.